pleasure, the King of Beers presents USA's Tuesday Night Fights. Scheduled for 10 rounds, the legendary Roberto Duran versus Ray Domenge. Along with the champ Sean O'Grady, and ringside here in Miami, Ray Domenge is already in the ring, and Roberto Duran about to make his entrance in front of many friends here in Miami. Duran now resides in Miami, and he is making Domenge wait in the ring. This is a tactic in a world championship fight, which this is not.
Yeah, but one of the liberties that you have as a big-name fighter is your opponent has to go in the ring first. You sit in the back, rest, relax, get warmed up for the fight, while your opponent stands in front of the crowd and sweats. Right now, Ray Domenge is sweating.
Especially putting a fighter like Ray Domenge, who's very big on the Midwestern circuit, let him stay in the ring and wait. And now, Roberto Duran making his entrance to the legions of fans here in Miami. Working his way through the crowd on the ring walk. The legendary Hands of Stone, the shoeshine boy from the slums of Panama, who became a 4-time world champion. But it has been 6 years since he has worn a world title belt. And now, at the age of 44, he continues in the ring into his 29th year of professional fighting. No more titles, though, appear to be in sight. But now one more carrot dangles in front of Roberto to keep him going. At ringside tonight is Hector Camacho. And the talk is of a Duran and Macho Man meeting in the ring in May.
Ya le dije a Macho que me vaya a ver, porque la clase trompa que le voy a meter que va a pelear conmigo, a él le voy a dar mucho mejores.
I'm telling you, Hector, come watch this fight tonight, because the beating I give this fighter, I'm going to give you a better beating.
Él puede correr, pero no se puede salir del ring.
You could run, but you can't hide.
Y donde se para a pelear con Roberto Duran se va a caer.
And whenever you stop and fight me, I'm going to knock you out.
Well, he has fought always better with anger. Tonight, his anger is fueled by a match, a super fight with Hector Camacho.
And tonight, he takes a fight looking for a tune-up for Camacho in May, and he'll take on a feisty Nebraska fighter by the name of Ray Domenge, who's primarily feasted on the Midwestern circuit, and he thinks that he is catching Duran at the right time and can make a name for himself.
Lo único sé que es un boxeador
He's a strong kid, but he's not going to beat me.
Pero no le va a ganar.
He will not beat me.
Yeah, he's very strong, pero this year, no more Duran lose. Duran every day win.
Well, he says he's more focused today than he's been in the past, but we'll have to see. So many fighters live in the past, like a lot of the top fighters of yesterday coming back today.
Well, if he fights Camacho, he's going to probably have to get down to around 160 pounds, and that may be the most difficult part of preparing for Camacho. He's at 168 1/4. This is the second highest weight in Duran's career. He was 171 for his last fight in December. And Domenge has a quarter pounder over Roberto Duran. Domenge also with the height and the reach advantage. We're in Florida. The rules, standing 8 count not in effect. 3 knockdown rule is you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and scoring on the 10-point must scoring system. Now sizing up the strengths and the weaknesses of these two fighters. Here's the champ and the blackboard.
Scribbled out on the boxing blackboard, the strength of Roberto Duran. With all his experience, he's ring-wise. He knows his way around the ropes, and Roberto understands timing. Hands of Stone picks his shots. His weaknesses: with age, all fighters lose speed. And remembering earlier days, is Roberto overconfident? While facing Ray Domenge, his strength effective counter-punching. He's ambitious and likes to mix it up. Ray's weaknesses, he lacks mobility and power. And without much experience, Domenge could be the perfect opponent for Roberto Duran tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Acree, Boxing Promotions in association with Jorge Cervantes Promotions and Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers, presents main event, 10 rounds, super middleweights. Your judges at ringside, assigned by the Florida State Athletic Commission, Mark Streisand of Boca Raton, Florida, and from Miami, Florida, Bob Ballo and Rocky Young. Your referee for this event, from Hialeah, Florida, Bill Connors. Introducing now the principals. First in the red corner to my right, wearing the black trunks with burnt orange trim. He weighs 168.5 pounds with a professional record of 19 victories, 6 defeats. He has 11 knockouts. He hails from Omaha, Nebraska. Here is Ray the Rat Domenge. His opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white trunks, green accessories and trim. He weighs 168.25 pounds. He has a professional record of 96 victories, 11 defeats. He has 67 knockouts. El hijo de la República de Panamá, now making his home in Miami, Florida, the 4-time world champion, Manos de Piedra, Roberto Duran. 10 rounds, super middleweights.
You both got your instructions in the back now. I want a clean fight. Listen to my commands at all time during the course of the round. Any questions over here? No? No questions here? Touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
He'll be 45 years old in June. And Sean, after 2 losses to Vinny Pazienza, Duran now back on national television. He has Camacho at ringside. Isn't Roberto thinking that he has to do something significant tonight to kind of keep this thing going?
Oh, sure, and to prove that he wants a fight with Hector Camacho, and he wants to get back into title contention. I mean, this is a man, I mean, you look at him. He's a man who has really been mellowed in the years that he has boxed.
And Roberto Duran now waiting for the opening bell. And right now, a fight with Macho Camacho probably makes the most sense for him. He is unranked after the losses to Pazienza. He is really out of the mix for any title fight at this point. And he even admitted to us prior to the fight that this is his final year. He has made 6 comebacks in the course of his 29-year career, but he said this is it, 1996. He would love to win 100 fights, which means 4 more victories. But quite frankly, if he fights a Camacho and loses that fight, why would he continue after that? That's
sure. And he sees it all coming to an end now. Before, he has never talked about retirement. He has never even said that he slowed down at all until now. Now he sees it all happening. And it seems like the older you get, the faster it all happens.
Well, Duran, now in the late stages in the last couple of years, all of his opponents have been carefully selected, non-punchers. They all have pretty good records. Domenge here is 19-6. His last couple of fights against Wilbur Garst, who was 17-3. Ronnie Martinez, who was 16-0. And Duran knocked both of those fighters out. He has gone to the Midwest circuit whenever he can. Fighters with good records, but no punch. Putting records together against poor opposition. Domenge certainly fits into that category, but he comes in a student of the game. He respects the Duran, who he feels is still technically very sound and still has the big right hand, and doesn't feel, although Domenge generally slugs it out. Nebraska and Iowa, he has the record of 19-1. Whenever he steps out of the friendly confines, he is 0-5. So he knows he's not going to slug it out with Duran, even though he's a fighter who likes to mix it up usually. And he's come in here to try to outpoint Roberto. And Domenge knows he has to get that jab going. He's got the big 9-inch reach advantage, and there he is trying to get it going. But he has never stepped in the ring with the likes and the experience of Duran. Even Duran at 168 1/4 and 44 years old.
Yeah, he realizes this is a big step up for him, but he says Duran is beatable. They don't think that I'm going to come in and do very well at all. So if I get in there, he was talking about moving early in this fight, in and out, but he is certainly not doing that. Duran has always had problems in the past with the elusive runners. So they did in his corner, and his management trainers did their scouting report in anticipating of finding a fighter who would match the description that Duran could punch.
The uppercut by Domenge sneaks in there. Domenge not known especially for his speed or his mobility or his power. So yes, scouted beautifully by the Duran people. It's the end of round 1. It's scheduled for 10.
Martinez giving instructions to Roberto Duran. That's a fighter you don't have to give many instructions to, except to watch out for the uppercuts. Best punch so far from Domenge.
Roberto Duran, who turned pro March 8th, 1967, at the age of 15, at the weight of 118 pounds.
A bantamweight. A few years ago. I think the weight carries more credence than the years.
He won his first 29 fights, went into Madison Square Garden against 43-1 world champion Ken Buchanan. Stopped Buchanan in a thrilling, stunning victory in the 13th round. Duran went on to hold that lightweight championship for 5.5 years. He'll also go on to win the welterweight title, junior middleweight, and the middleweight crown. Middleweight crown against Iran Barkley at the age of 37. That time, Duran had been written off several different times. 168 1/4. That's the weight of Roberto on this particular night.
Title he won from Barkley. He lost in his next fight to Leonard. That was the last championship he held, WBC.
96 victories, 11 defeats, 67 knockouts for Roberto Duran. 108 fights in 29 years. That actually tells me a little more about Sean O'Grady. Now, Sean, you had 86 fights in 9 years in the ring. So
but it felt like 27 years.
But at that pace, if you had fought 29 years, you'd have had something around 270 fights. Wow. In your illustrious career.
And how did you figure that out, Al?
Just came
mathematical.
Just came to
me. He picked it out of the sky. Picking his shots, Duran.
And that's what Roberto Duran is all about right now.
Yeah, not many wasted punches. He can't waste at this age, and he knows it. He says his style has changed. He's still rough, tough, and aggressive. His best punch still the left hook. But when he punches now, he has to make every shot count. to the body. The fighters like Domenge, who have a good defense, keep their hands up around their face. You have to pick around for those spots. Look for those openings. Look at Domenge carrying the left hand low against a fighter like Duran. That is a dangerous thing to do. Duran already trying to land over the top of that left.
Duran, who makes his openings, he gets inside, he uses the head, uses the shoulders, inside with those short punches, able to turn it over, beats his opponent to the punch. Oh, there's a left hand and rocks Domenge. Roberto Duran in the white trunks. Ray the Rat Domenge.
The Rat.
In the black trunks.
His nickname, the Rat. His trainer, Mouse Strauss, says that he picked up that nickname from his dad. He said, when I was a little boy, whenever my dad would try to give me a hug, I'd squirrel away. So I got the nickname of the Rat. Mouse's trainer said anybody who fights underneath me and I train, they've got to take a nickname of a rodent like the Rat. Bruce the Mouse Strauss.
Well, Muhammad Ali would put Floyd Patterson in that call. What do we call it? The Rabbit?
The Rabbit.
Yes. Floyd wasn't particularly happy with that nickname. All right, Duran has his man cornered.
Heavy shot from Duran, but Domenge gets in there, he scores, and then he moves out. Wisely, Domenge said that he was going to move early, but there's a good left hook from him.
The match right there for Roberto Duran. Roberto doesn't like to chase down his opponents, especially now.
Well, there was a tape sent from the camp of Ray Domenge. The tape of him fighting Heath Todd, and this is the kind of fight that he fought, now trying to get some more movement. But they wanted for Duran to see something that Domenge would not do, and that was move. So they sent that tape. A fighter who Duran faced.
To go in round number 3. Digging into the body is Roberto Duran.
That's experience talking. Downstairs to the body. Those body shots. Good left hook from Duran. That made Duran mad.
Well, Domenge making Duran work here early.
Oh, yeah, something that he wants to do. He says Duran is going to feel those 44-year-old legs late in this fight. Doing a nice job going down to the body also.
I asked Domenge before the fight to look forward stepping in against the legend Roberto Duran. He says, I look forward to beating the legend Roberto Duran.
Look forward to stepping out of the ring. Still alive with my teeth intact.
And that is the end of round 3. And watching on from ringside, very interesting to see how Roberto Duran looks tonight, is Hector Camacho. Duran Camacho in May, that's what they're talking about. And Hector, Roberto had a couple of choice words for you before tonight's fight.
Ya él le diga a Macho que me vaya a ver, porque la clase trompa que le voy a meter que va a pelear conmigo, a él le voy a dar mucho mejores.
Telling you, Hector, come watch this fight tonight, because the beating I give this fighter, I'm going to give you a better beating.
Él puede correr, pero no se puede salir del ring.
You could run, but you can't hide.
Y donde se para a pelear con Roberto Duran se va a caer.
And whenever you stop and fight me, I'm going to knock you out.
I'll take the shot. He's fighting ugly anyway, so I figure he's on his way out. He's still tough and rough and rugged. Still got to punch his chance. But with the 10 years I got in front of him, my skill, speed, ring savage, I could be able to outbox him, outpunch him, outslug him, and outrun him. So I'll take the challenge.
What's your analysis of how he looks the first 3 rounds?
He's looking pretty good. He looks like he's getting good day of work. Yeah, he could use the work, but he's nothing up to Duran when I used to look at him when I was a kid. But still, he's rugged, a hard puncher. He'll wear you out. If you come to talk about it, I'm a welterweight. He's a super middleweight.
He's at 168 and a quarter, welterweight 147. But we've seen you basically in the low to mid 150s. What's going to be the compromise weight?
Well, I think I want to bring him down to about 57, 58. And if he keeps
don't
talking,
think so.
Well,
I don't think you'll get him there.
I think, this is his last hurrah. He can't make the kind of money. He can't get no kind of excitement nowhere else anyway. So it's up to him, But then again, the way I'm looking at him, I think I might give him a chance and then for 160.
Can Duran get down to 160 at this point, at the age of 44?
Wow, but he's 68.5 tonight, and he still get down that low?
He had some difficulty getting to 160 in the corner.
Well, he's the one talking about fighting the Macho Man.
What he was saying in there tells me that he wants to control you by your emotion. What does it say to you when he's telling you the things like he said in that bite?
If I look at Duran here, easily I can see I'll box him, I'll spin him, I'll hold him, I'll smart him.
But he's hoping you outfight him.
Well, I go out, punch him. He'll throw 2 punches to my 5'6", But nonetheless, you just got to make the fight and make it happen.
The hands of stone, no question, a legend in boxing. What should he be doing to a fighter like Ray Domenge?
Just about what he's doing now. He's working him.
I'm talking about the hands of stone.
Hands of stone should be knocking him out.
Sure.
Hands of stone should be knocking him out.
How much has he degraded?
So, he degraded, I'd say about 30%.
Is he still a threat?
Yeah, he's sure a threat.
Why? Experience?
Experience, the man savage that he has. He's rugged. He can take a good punch. Duran is pretty much there. He's pretty much there. If he were to punish himself, I'm sure he could make 158.
May do that for you.
All right, 10 seconds to go in round number 4. We're talking with Hector Camacho. Stay with us for the next round. Duran in the white trunks, Ray Domenge with a fight of his life coming out of Omaha, Nebraska to step in against the legendary figure in the history of boxing, Roberto Duran. Roberto putting some combinations together, showing some hand speed. And now on his toes is Domenge. The crowd is chanting for Duran. Al Albert along with Sean O'Grady. We're joined by Hector Macho Camacho here at ringside, scouting Roberto Duran, a man he has seen many, many times, but right now with special interest because there is the of Camacho meeting Duran in May, and I know you guys are going to talk about it or perhaps even seal the deal after the fight tonight.
More or less, yeah. You know, right now we're talking about the weight. You know, weight is a factor at the moment. But I like everything I see. You know, I can say, hey, if Benny Paz he ends up beat him twice, I mean, hey, I love the fight.
You know, there's legitimate bad blood between Duran and Pazienza. What's the relationship between Roberto and the Macho Man?
Well, nothing. I mean, you know, we got mutual respect for each other. But nevertheless, you know, I mean, he wants a big payday, and it's not anything egotistical about, you know, me and him. To the point that he knows this is his last hurrah, and he would like to go out with a bang.
And he would love to have a win over Hector Camacho. Will this be a fight that will be hard for you to get up for? I mean, the man is 44 years old.
Hey,
why?
no way, man. Hey, I used to see this cat, man, when I was about 12 years old on TV. Okay, it's a cat I used to admire. And now at this point, I see he's a cat that he's going to go out there and try to take what I have so he could go on and make a payday on me and maybe one after.
Both of them trade left hooks. Is it difficult fighting? You think it's difficult fighting one of he was one of your heroes. Difficult fighting a hero?
No, not when he was going to try to take my head out of place, you know.
It's the only sport you can meet your hero and hit him in the face.
Yeah, I think Duran will make me look great. You know, I could get up my jabs, my combination, my leg movements, you know. And, you know, it's a big name to beat, you know.
Oh, heavy right hand.
You know, there are many who feel he shouldn't be fighting. Do you have any objections seeing that Roberto Duran's still in the ring at this point?
Duran is performing well. He's fighting well. He's showing, you know, that savage. You know, he's fighting. You know, he's doing the same thing Foreman is doing. You know, they're going out there and they're fighting.
You're now, what, 33?
I'm 30 years old.
What will you be doing at the age of 44?
I don't know, picking apples somewhere.
Not still in the ring.
Hope not.
Well, Hector, do you remember this night back in Las Vegas? Greg Haugen decisioned you to win the WBO Junior Welterweight title. That was your first loss.
Yes.
And it was because you refused to touch his glove in the 12th round, and you lost by 1 point. That was a different Hector Camacho.
Yeah, but I think that was a disgrace. I thought even with the 1 point, I wasn't supposed to lose that fight at all. No way. I knocked him down in the 4th round. I was outpointing him. I think it was something to do with promotion or something, you know. I got a bad shake on that fight.
But that's also an example of the change that has overcome the life of Hector Camacho. It's something that you would have not lost that point tonight.
Well, you know, I'm marrying that man now. I'm cool. I'm behaving, you know. I'm not a disco cat no more.
Although you're blowing out our cameras with that sports coat.
Yeah.
We're going to have new cameras next week. Hector Camacho joining us here at ringside as we watch Roberto Duran in his 108th professional fight. He is 4 victories away from a golden mark of 100 victories. And with Ray Domenge here tonight, Duran trying to wear him down and then look ahead for a fight against Hector Camacho.
Well, I think he's certainly wearing Domenge down, but you got to give Domenge credit. He's in there fighting. He's taking some good shots. He's given some good shots. Although Domenge, not known as a knockout artist, over 11 KOs out of his 19 wins. Says his best punch is the left hook. He's scrapping.
Yep. He has taken a couple of fights going overseas. Looking pretty good, although in defeat. He fought Antoine Fernandez in France, who was 43-2. Domenge broke his hand in the 3rd round, went on to finish the fight, losing an 8-round distance fight. Fought tough Henry Wharton. You remember Wharton's fight against Nigel Benn. He was 15-0 at that time. And also 19-2 Ray Close in Ireland, the Wharton fight in England. Domenge stopped in both of those.
Yeah, a couple of fights on short notice. He said in the Wharton fight he went in and tried to KO him and just ran out of gas. And in the Close fight, it wasn't close at all. He said, no shake.
But he has been in the ring against some world-class performers. The eye of Domenge, the left eye, as you can see, starting to close. Duran will be looking closely at that. Duran, who feels he won the first fight against Vinny Pazienza. It's Paz down in the fight for the first time in Vinny's career. Paz's face bloody. Duran was unmarked in the fight, but you recall the last half of that fight, the hands of Stone looked more like the legs of Stone, which also was the situation in basically the entire second fight. Roberto really looked old in that one.
Yeah, really faded between the fights.
Hector Camacho, what are you looking for now as you watch Roberto Duran?
Well, I'm looking for victory over home.
Now, as you see him here, 15 seconds to go, what are some of the things you notice? A couple of...
I seen it all already. Believe me, man.
You could go
that's
home.
an old book, yeah.
Hector has seen enough.
I've seen enough, you know.
All right, we'll be back with the next round. Packed house of the Mahi Shrine Auditorium in Miami. Big following for Roberto Duran, who now lives here in Miami.
Proving that he can still pack them in. You know, every fighter wants to face one that they can make a lot of money on. And if you have a fighter like Duran, who has the name and can still pack them into an arena, that's very important for a young fighter who wants to make a name for himself, or a fighter that wants to make a lot of money. And all fighters want to make a lot of money.
When Roberto Duran beat Sugar Ray Leonard in June of 1980 to win the welterweight title and to go to 73-1 and then stopped in the rematch, the No Mas fight. He then would go on and lose to Wilfredo Benitez, Kirkland Lang, and most figured that was the end of the line. Then he comes back 3 years later in '83 to beat Davey Moore for the junior middleweight crown. Then loses to Marvin Hagler, and then rocked by Tommy Hearns, a fight in which he was down 3 times. And once again, the opinion that is the end of the line for Pazienza. 6 years later, rather for Roberto Duran, 6 years later, he beats Iran Barkley at the age of 37 to win the middleweight title. It's the 4 titles for Roberto Duran.
And really like a cat, he's had 9 lives. It certainly seems so.
Yep. After he beat Barkley, he then lost to Ray Leonard. Then he lost to Pat Waller, a fight that he actually injured his shoulder during the fight. But after the Leonard loss, he was out 2 years. After he lost to Lawler, he was out another year and a half and seemed to be forgotten. But they embarked on this latest comeback. It started at 92, and he's been able to string together a couple of big paydays with Pazienza. And now wants that one more with Camacho, not title fights, but some money. And I think when it's all said and done, that is the reason at 44, Roberto Duran is still in the ring.
Yeah, where do you go when you're one of the greatest fighters of all times? Where do you go to make a living after your career is over for the rest of your life? That's what so many fighters have. There's a good right hand from Duran. But Duran not able to put away the Ray Domenge.
15 seconds to go in the 7th. Roberto knows where to go, but you're in that seat. Can't get you out of there.
You'll have to wrestle me for it.
Or maybe
He's got to make my weight. He's got to make my weight first.
Round 8. Al Albert and the champ, Sean O'Grady, in Miami. It is round number 8. And I would suspect, Sean, if Ray Domenge had any notion of beating Roberto Duran, it was to make him fight, take him into the later rounds, and try to outpoint him. He said he didn't want to try to outslug Duran, and he is getting him at least into the later rounds.
Yeah, not really a knockout puncher. His best opportunity tonight, he knew it, was to build up a score, build up points. And his best opportunities would come late in the fight when Roberto Duran felt all of his 44 years old.
Well, this has been a night of champions. Not only Sean O'Grady, Hector Camacho joining us, and now Vinny Pazienza sliding over here at the ringside. And Vinny, you were watching Roberto Duran and kind of shaking your head. What did that mean?
I don't know. You know, first of all, glad to be here with you guys. I want to say hello to everybody back home. But, you know, I'm watching him, and I half feel bad for him because, you know, now that we're not fighting anymore, I like the guy.
That is a way to settle your differences.
Yeah. You know, Duran's all right now that it's all over. Round 25 will never happen. But, you know, he's fighting this young kid. He should have knocked him out in the first or second round. And I think maybe the Duran of 3 or 4 years ago would have took him out in 1 or 2 rounds. You know, he came in the ring, he's smiling at me, and, you know, the old Duran's not like that. You know,
yeah, you never saw him
got a lot of him who's like a big jolly guy now. He's just enjoying himself. But, you know, I hate to see this go down like this.
Are you actually saddened by seeing Roberto Duran still in the ring?
Well, you know, I wish he'd knock this guy out and then call it quits, but he's having a good time. He likes what he's doing. And, you know, they're trying to make a match with this nut behind me, Hector Camacho. And if that ever happens, oh, man, I'll be nowhere in sight.
But Hector wants to wear that jacket. He'll blind Roberto.
Inside a minute to go in round number 8. Do you see much of a difference in Duran here than the Duran you fought?
Even the Duran that I fought was a little sharper than this, a little quicker. His punches seem to be thrown with more intensity. He's just tossing them out there, a lot of them. Every once in a while, he'll throw a hard shot. But, you know, he gets by. He's very witty, and he's ring-wise. You know, he's old, he slows down, he still can punch. But, you know, I feel bad. I wish he'd knock this guy 1 or 2 rounds. No, I don't want to see the legend go down like this.
Ray Domenge showing you his whiskers. Hangs in there. Takes a shot on the side of the jaw.
They're trying to make a fight with him and Hector Camacho. Camacho's worried about the weight. You know, he should let him fight whatever weight he wants to come in at. Hey, what's your favorite movie?
Vinny Pazienza story.
The 818th round in the career of Roberto Duran. 4-time champion. He has fought 21 world title fights, 16 of those. 6 comebacks in his 29-year career. Going up against Ray Domenge, we have Vinny Pazienza here at ringside. And an exchange here. Duran with the left. The crowd getting behind the legend, who fights on, approaching his 45th birthday in June.
Some stunning shots. Real crisp punches from Duran. This is the experience talking. Roberto, by the 9th round, you really see the light at the end of the tunnel. 10th round just over the horizon, trying to pour it on a bit. The hands of stone, showing Domenge why he's nicknamed that. Yeah, look at the gloves of Domenge. When you get hit with a solid shot like Duran has hit Domenge early in this round, it just takes all the steam out of your punches. It takes all the power, you just wilt. It takes your energy.
He can still punch, Don. I wanted to find out in our first fight.
Yeah, I think you did.
He showed me.
That's right.
Sucker still hits hard.
And that's waved off the slip. And that has been a slippery corner. Arthur Allen found that out earlier in the night.
If you're Duran's corner, what do you tell Duran? He's been in over 100 fights. You know, he's got guys out there. He can tell them what to do. How can they give him any instructions?
Where did Duran give you the most trouble in the 2 fights?
He was very ring-wise, and it seems like he had has now, and he was punching a little harder in the first fight. I think in the second fight, I took it out of him right off the bat with a left hook right in the first round, and it slowed him the rest of the fight. You know, and this has reminded me of the ending of my second fight with Duran.
Yeah, but even in your fights, he kept trying. He kept coming back, and you'd have to fight him off.
Oh, yeah, well, we didn't like each other at the time. Now we like each other, we're not fighting each other.
You know, he's hitting Ray Domenge like he doesn't like him right now.
He's trying to end it. You know, he don't want this fight to go 10 rounds. He didn't want it to go this way.
When you say you like each other, are you also speaking for him?
I think so. He looks over and smiled at me.
Domenge now holding on. Oh, good right hand by Duran. Domenge in trouble here late in the night.
Hang on.
Domenge won't go down. Looking for the foul.
And looking for knockout number 68 in his career, Roberto Duran.
Bruce Strauss giving instructions to Domenge. Here it is. Correct. The overhand right. Duran shifted his weight to the right foot, landed all that weight right on the point of Domenge's chin. Domenge went right to the ropes. Roberto Duran. Again, what do you tell him? Final round.
Go out there and do what you did in the ninth round.
Yeah, keep doing it.
Vinny Pazienza, his last fight in June against Roy Jones. You've been off for about 8 months. At that time, a question of whether you would continue on or not. What's next for you?
Well, I was more disgusted in that fight than hurt. You know, I mean, I just had a bad night. Jones had a great night. I fought the best fighter in the world, and I felt terrible. When I walked to the ring, I knew it was going to be a problem, and I hoped Jones had a bad night, but he didn't. You know, or else that would have never happened to me.
So where does that leave you now?
Well, I want to come back with something big. I don't just want to come back with anything. My life story, the movie's being in the process of being made now. We're going to start filming at the end of the year. Heart and Soul, I think Christian Slater is going to play my part. Danny Aiello hopefully will play my dad. It'll be a great story, and I want to come back with something big. Either a Nigel Benn, a Steve Collins, or a young undefeated kid from Boston, because I want to fight in Boston. Dana Rosenblatt, he's acting like a little bit of a pussy now, but I think I'll be able to get him sooner or later. I want to come back with something big. That's all. It's as simple as that.
So in other words, they haven't written the conclusion to the movie yet.
Well, the conclusion will end after the first fight.
Right, Al and I in that movie.
You guys are going to play your own part.
Great. Well, I don't know. That might be a stretch for both of us.
You are definitely going to play your own part. It'll end at the Santana fight.
All right, so who plays Roberto Duran?
Nobody. Nobody can play Roberto.
Duran playing to the crowd, wanting that knockout. He's got much of the crowd here on their feet.
Well, the crowd here thrilled that Roberto Duran is still in the ring and fighting. And
you know, Al, come to think of it, I think if we put a Spanish accent on Danny DeVito, he might be a good Roberto Duran.
Downstairs to the body.
You just made up with Roberto, and now you messed it up.
Just kidding, Roberto. Let me tell you something. I'm outnumbered here. There's a lot of Duran fans.
And you can see the interest that would be stirred up in a Duran-Camacho fight.
Sure.
One of the venues
that's controlled in boxing. When you can make people come to your fight, support you, pay their hard-earned dollars to watch you fight, that's money to these fighters.
Yeah, that's a great Hispanic fight. I mean, Duran's going to have to take Valiant after going on the press conference with Camacho, but it might be a good fight.
Duran stepped on the toe of Domenge. Domenge stumbled.
This kid's hung in there now. I'd hate to see it end in a knockout. He can say he went 10 rounds with the break Roberto Duran.
In one of his last fights. Final 20 seconds. Duran still digging the body.
And Duran puts in a night of 10 rounds of work.
He worked. Give him credit. He worked tonight, and Domenge stayed in there. Domenge could have exited at any time, but he fought back.
And that is it. Roberto Duran on his way to victory number 97. Ray Domenge goes the distance. And we will have the decision shortly. Thank you, Pazienza, for joining us. And we have the decision. Here is Mark Vieto.
Gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Robert Ballo scores it 99-92. Judges Paul Herman and Rocky Young score it 99-91. All to the winner by unanimous decision,